Kenneth Copeland, widely known as Lil Woody or YSL Woody, was born in Atlanta in 1991, growing up as the seventh child in a massive family of 10. He spent some of his early formative years in the notorious Bowen Homes projects, located in the Bankhead neighborhood on Atlanta's west side, also known as Zone 1. However, long before Bankhead became the backdrop for any iconic rap feuds, Woody's life took a sharp turn. In the early 2000s, when he was just 10 years old, his father tragically passed away. This loss forced his mother to move the family back to their original stomping grounds in the Mechanicsville neighborhood near downtown Atlanta. Times were incredibly tough, and the family had to rely on government assistance and his mother's hustle just to get by, with rumors even suggesting that their home doubled as a trap house. Then, in 2008, tragedy struck the family yet again. Woody's mother passed away, leaving him completely without parental guidance at just 17 years old. With no foundation left, he ended up drifting away from his family, getting expelled from school, and turning to the streets full-time.
2008, I lost my mom. When I lost my mom, I was just like, well, you know, this is the only person that care about me. This is what my life was based off my mama. She the only one had that control over me. So when she died, I removed myself from the rest of my family and just took to the streets.
The very next year, in 2009, a 17-year-old Woody had his first serious run-in with the law. He was arrested and charged with carrying a concealed weapon, a charge he reportedly took to protect a friend.
So why were you carrying a gun during this time?
I actually wasn't carrying. It's old, so somebody else had it. I took it from him because I seen the police going after him. But somebody else was watching me and seen me take it from him.
Oh, so you're trying to help your friend out, basically.
I helped somebody out.
Right, and in turn, you caught a gun charge.
Yeah, and
Over the next few years, Woody's life spiraled further into the system. He found himself behind bars multiple times on a laundry list of charges, including theft, weapon possession, battery, obstruction, aggravated assault, participation in a criminal street gang, and even making terroristic threats. This was likely around the time he was allegedly running with the DRC clique, also known as the Robbing Crew. But in 2013, Woody was pushed completely over the edge when his best friend, DB, was tragically killed in a drive-by shooting.
After he got killed, you said, I had to go terrorize. What does that mean?
Exactly what it sounded like it meant.
Driven by grief and anger, Woody began to develop a fearsome reputation on the streets of Atlanta. It was this very reputation that seemingly caught the attention of none other than Young Thug, who eventually invited Woody to become part of his entourage. So, how did you two actually meet in the first place?
And how'd you guys initially meet?
He just called me out of the blue. I knew him, I knew of him, you feel me? Everybody from Atlanta knew of him as he was coming up. And I've been around him a few times, shot dice with him. But he just called me out of the blue one day, be like, hey, come see me. You wanna go on shows with me? And, you know, we went from there.
Interestingly, during his no-jumper interview, Woody even seemed to insinuate that his initial meeting with Thug was connected to the infamous incident where Rich Homie Quan's father's barbershop was shot up.
That barbershop don't have nothing to do with, nothing. You know what I'm saying? That barbershop just on some Bankheads type stuff.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I grew up in Bowen Homes, so.
So he didn't have a reason to go out and just go on stage and say that. He was just really just choosing sides.
So when the barbershop happened, Thug and Rich Homie was cool. To be honest, that's how me and Thug got together.
Yeah, so how did you meet Thug?
I guess you didn't get him.
Through Rich Homie? Break it down again.
It's still an open case.
Alright, for sure.
However, as Woody later recalled during his questioning by Brian Steele at the trial, his time in Thug's entourage only lasted about a year, between 2014 and 2015. During that period, Woody served as a sort of enforcer for Young Thug, a role that even earned him a direct shout-out on the hit song Halftime, where Thug raps that if anyone messes with him, Woody will pull up and shoot them in the head.
Going back to 2014, going into 2015, you met Jeffrey Williams for a short period of time that you were, my word would be hanging out with him, but that's a bad word, that you were in his company and he was in your company, a short period of time. Is that fair to say? Right. And when you met him, you already said that he was very popular.
Yes.
True. Is it fair to say that you and he knew each other, but like after your birthday in July of 2014, and really stopped because you were in custody anyway, by July 2015. That's the period of time that you knew each other? Is that true?
No, I didn't. From 2014, I met him like at the end of 2014.
And then you already told the jury, but you got locked up a lot. The police kept locking you up in January, February, March, April, May, and then June, you were locked up in federal custody for 51 months. True?
Yes.
Okay. And that's really the only period that you knew Jeffrey.
Yeah.
The only time that you were around him or he was around you. True?
But really, we wasn't even together every day. I was out in the neighborhood.
Jeffrey never had the pleasure of having you featured in one of his songs. Is that true?
No, I ain't never been in his song.
Okay. And Jeffrey never was featured in one of your songs. Is that true?
No, me and him don't have music together.
All right. But he did put you in one song of his. You know the song Halftime?
I'm listening.
Do you remember the line, and I'm not saying this a quote, but something effective, if you mess with me, Woody will come up and pop in the noggin. And if that's not a quote, I'm not trying to misquote it, but that's what is that something like what it says in that song?
Yeah.
And the song is Halftime, right?
Yes.
Wildly popular song?
Yes.
However, as Woody later claimed, he was far from happy about that shout-out. While the song had reportedly been recorded in 2014 when things were still good between them, it wasn't released until April 2015, a time when Woody was in a very dangerous position on the streets. He found himself right in the middle of a violent feud between YSL and the Atlanta branch of the Englewood family Bloods. As mentioned before, this war allegedly started in late 2014, with Woody's personal beef against Big Nut's brother, Shell Kell, playing a massive role in the back-and-forth violence that followed. Not long after, the Englewood family's second-in-command, and the man behind the careers of Rich Homie Quan and YFN Lucci, Donovan Big Nut Thomas, was killed in a brutal drive-by shooting. While nobody knew for sure who pulled the trigger, suspicion immediately fell on YSL, and specifically on Woody. In fact, his girlfriend's parents' house was shot up the very same night Nut was murdered. These events drove Woody to make perhaps the most consequential decision of his life. He began cooperating with the police. Initially, Woody faced a murder charge himself, but those charges were eventually dismissed. Still, he remained firmly on the Atlanta PD's radar. By the very next month, in February, he was back in their custody, before finally being released in mid-March. All of this explains why Woody wasn't exactly thrilled to hear Thug labeling him as a shooter on his latest track.
You learned that the police was using that song. They asked you about that song.
No, they told me.
Yeah.
One of them told me that I think I had got out like I got out one of the jails and they got me the next day. And they were like, yeah, man, now you at the top of our radar. It was something like, and he pissed me off when he said it.
He being the detective.
No, it wasn't no detective, it was the police.
Okay. The police officer upset you when they
I think it was Dennis that said it. It was one of them that said it to me.
Okay.
Just a month later, in April 2015, at the absolute height of the alleged war between YSL and the Englewood family Bloods, which had reportedly sparked dozens of shootings and multiple homicides, Woody walked into the Dunbar Center gymnasium. Tucked inside an H&M shopping bag was a loaded Diamondback .223 assault rifle, which he left sitting on the bleachers while he hopped into a basketball game. A concerned citizen spotted it and called the police, who arrived to find the rifle and later arrested Woody. He was ultimately hit with federal charges, landing him in prison for several years. During the investigation, police discovered that the rifle had actually been purchased by Quandarius Zachary, a YSL member known as Lil D, who would later become one of the state's witnesses in the YSL RICO trial. Woody was eventually released in late 2019. At the start of 2020, he attempted to follow in Young Thug's footsteps by launching a rap career, kicking things off with a track aptly titled First Day Out. Despite secretly cooperating with law enforcement behind the scenes, the song still featured self-incriminating lyrics where he rapped about having people killed and boasted that YSL ran Atlanta. That March, Woody dropped a full mixtape confidently titled I Am the Streets, leaning heavily into his reputation as a certified gangster. One of his music videos even featured a wild intro showing Woody in a helicopter, looking down over Atlanta like he was Tony Montana. He also still appeared to be close with other YSL members, with Yak Gotti even performing at his mixtape listening party. In the few interviews he did as an upcoming artist, Woody proudly repped the gang every chance he got.
What's going on, man? It's your boy Rich and Face TV, man. We back in the building, we back working, we back grinding. I had to pull up on my boy Lil Woody, man. Pop up.
Sam, man. YSL everything. Man, flat. Yeah, man. Lil Woody, YSL for life. 30 deep. Freehand entertainment, man. Shout out to the progress report.
Yeah, they Lil Woody freehand entertainment. Just jumped out of the pool with Dirty Glove Best. Slack YSL for life.
But Woody simply couldn't stay out of trouble, and before long, he found himself back in jail, staying locked up until 2021. Even after his release, he only managed to stay out for a few months. He was arrested yet again during a traffic stop after officers pulled him over for allegedly swerving. While Woody technically only had a loaded magazine on him, as a convicted felon, it was enough to hit him with another weapons charge, one that carried a potential sentence of up to 10 years in prison. This arrest led to another interrogation, a video of which would later leak to the public during the 2023 YSL trial. Watching the questioning, it becomes immediately clear from the way the detectives treated him that this wasn't Woody's first rodeo in an interrogation room. Woody sat down with law enforcement, including gang unit investigators from the DA's office and agents from the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, proving that multiple agencies were closely monitoring both him and YSL. The police then read Woody his charges.
Unfortunately, there's a gun in the car.
A gun with
In your car. I did a search warrant for the vehicle, there's a gun in the car, and you had a magazine on you when they picked you up. Federally, they can charge you with the ammunition. Statewide, you're probably going to get charged with the gun.
I'm gonna get charged with the gun? There was no gun.
There was a gun in the car.
They also made it clear that they couldn't promise him anything in exchange for his cooperation.
If you want to talk to us today, I cannot promise you anything. I can't make you any promises. Listen to me, I can't make you any promises. I can't offer you anything today. That's not what we can do.
What we can do is, if you do cooperate, we could talk to the DA and let them know you did cooperate. And that's the most, she can make a decision, and that's not what's going on.
But despite the lack of guarantees, Woody seemed willing to say whatever it took to save himself.
The information I had, they want to hear you right now.
I mean, we can pass it to
You
them.
say you pass it today, I'm thinking something gonna happen today.
What's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
Somebody's supposed to be killed tonight.
Who?
You know.
He offered detectives information on a murder plot that, coincidentally, had occurred on the very same day as his arrest.
I tell y'all this much right here. I know people gonna go do it. I can get the time when they gonna go do it. So y'all can catch me in the act.
He also painted a picture of a relentless and bloodthirsty young thug who was allegedly targeting Nut's brother, Kel.
So I've been put in bad situations. Trying to help people out, trying to stop me. They're not gonna stop. He's not gonna stop till he killed it. I'm telling you, I was just right there with him, and I seen him like I know him. He won him. He don't care who he is. He don't care. I'm telling you that.
At one point, he even tried to play detective himself, suggesting a sting operation while emphasizing just how reckless Thug had become by that point.
Yeah, what time it is?
7:04.
If I could be released if it was 11 to 12 o'clock, show you how serious I am. If I could be released, let the people see me and Mike coming out of jail together. The city jail for whatever. Y'all can be right there to see me meet up with him and discuss it. Well, however y'all want to take it, y'all see where Cuddy ran in, y'all can catch him in the act.
What do you mean?
So he not moving how he used to move. He moved different, but he wanted so bad that he's that reckless.
Woody's troubles didn't end there. The very next month, in November, his girlfriend, who was actually a police officer, was arrested for interfering with an investigation into Woody's activities.
But before the jurors were called in, Copeland's attorney says his client planned to invoke his Fifth Amendment right to avoid self-incrimination.
What he has told me is that he repeatedly told the DA's office that he did not wish to cooperate, did not wish to testify.
The judge told Copeland there's an order granting him immunity, which prevents his testimony from being used against him, which means...
So you're required to testify. So, if you don't testify, the state's probably going to ask me to jail you, and I'm probably going to do that.
However, by 2022, the state's gun charges stemming from Woody's 2021 arrest were mysteriously dropped, just a month before YSL members were rounded up in the massive RICO sweep. This move highlighted exactly how heavily the prosecution was relying on Woody's testimony, as he was expected to provide critical insight into YSL structure, name names, and detail specific violent acts tied back to Young Thug. But soon after, paperwork leaked online, painting Woody as the primary snitch in the entire case. This was quickly followed by the leak of that 2021 interrogation video, catching Woody snitching in 4K. Likely because of these leaks, when the time finally came for Woody to take the stand on June 7, 2024, he refused to testify, even after being granted immunity.
The former City of South Fulton police officer accused of abusing her badge to protect her boyfriend. Investigators say 27-year-old Aaliyah Jackson, who joined the city's police force in 2019, was booked into jail last month on felony charges after she tried to interfere with a major police operation targeting Metro Atlanta's most notorious drug dealers and gang members. Following his arrest, police say that Jackson tried to delete her boyfriend's Instagram page containing photos of gang activity. She's also accused of trying to disable his phone, which police were storing as evidence.
At this point, Woody was held in contempt of court and ended up being sent back to the Fulton County Jail.
But when the state asked exactly how old he was,
I plead the fifth. Ladies and gentlemen, can I get you to step outside?
that's when the judge ordered Copeland to be handcuffed.
This court holds you in willful contempt, and we'll see you on Monday.
The following Monday, before the day's proceedings even began, the judge met with the prosecution, Woody, and his legal team in a secret ex parte meeting that the defense was completely left in the dark about. This meeting arguably walked a very thin line between simply educating Woody on the legal consequences of refusing to take the stand and actively using threats to force his testimony. Whatever truly went down behind closed doors, it worked, and Woody agreed to testify. However, the moment he got back on the witness stand, he immediately began trolling the prosecution, giving everyone in the courtroom a clear preview of the chaos that was about to unfold.
Do you see Shannon in the courtroom today?
Well, I got a vision problem.
Okay.
I can't see that far.
All right, so if you want to stand up and look around the courtroom and look around the entire courtroom, tell me if you see Shannon in the courtroom today. You need to sit down?
Nah, I can right here. They ain't had nothing to drink.
The next day, on June 11th, Woody escalated his antics by firing his lawyer right in the middle of the proceedings.
Sir, Mr. Copeland, is it your desire to release your counsel at this point in time?
She fired.
She's fired? Okay.
Do what I need a lawyer for.
From that point forward, Woody proved to be a nightmare witness for the state. He consistently delayed the proceedings, deliberately misinterpreted questions and instructions, and utterly frustrated the prosecutors at every turn.
I guess.
When it came to his previous police interviews, Woody dealt another massive blow to the state's case. He routinely tanked the prosecution's credibility by claiming on the stand that he had been lying to authorities during interrogations dating all the way back to 2015.
Let me make myself clear, right? Because you keep asking me about things I done told investigators in the past. I can't say from when to when, but so much was going on, my name was on everything. The police kept coming to grab me. Every time they grabbed me, I had a different story for them. I know 100% facts, and I'm telling you now, I was not truthful. I was saying whatever they wanted me to say. I was saying whatever I could come up with. I was trying my best to convince them that I didn't do nothing, that I'm an innocent person, and that people put their hands on me.
But Woody's story wasn't just playing out inside the courtroom. Whenever court wasn't in session, he could be spotted on Instagram, actively posting and living his best life. Eventually, Woody's testimony came to a screeching halt when the defense successfully used that secret ex parte meeting to have the judge recused from the case, a massive development we'll dive into deeper later on. But once a new judge was subbed in, the trial finally resumed in August. Much to everyone's delight, except the prosecution, the newly appointed judge requested that Woody re-testify. Round 2 was just as chaotic, with Woody's antics even managing to get young Thug himself to laugh along from the defense table.
Yes, no, I don't recall. Did Thug have an issue with Rich Homie Quan bringing members of If Gang to his apartment?
Thug, did you have an issue with Rich Homie?
I'm asking you for what you told the police.
And I'm answering you. I just told you several times. I tell the police anything.
Okay. Do you recall talking about the shooting?
Once the state finally concluded their questioning of Woody, the real damage began, as cross-examination brought even more shocking revelations to light about the true extent of his alleged lies.
There you're saying that you gave the car to Javante, who gave it to Lil Mike and Quez, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you would agree that detectives Gaither and Dennis are telling you we've never even heard of Lil Mike and Quez, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland, Lil Mike is not a real person, is he?
No.
Brian Steele, Young Thug's powerhouse lawyer, grilled Woody about a recorded jail call in which Woody bragged to someone that prosecutors had practically begged him to testify. During that same cross-examination, Woody also adamantly claimed that he had never actually committed a single crime for Thug.
Did Jeffrey ever give you any money, ever, for committing a crime for him?
I never committed a crime for him.
That was my next question. Okay.
Once he was finally done testifying, Woody began publicly showing support for Young Thug. He even launched his own YouTube channel, where he posted a deeply emotional interview apologizing to Thug and everyone else for the pain he had caused.
If you could walk in that courtroom and say one thing to Thug right now, what would that be?
I'm sorry.
What you sorry for?
The pain, the suffering, everything I caused on him and his family, society, the courts. I'm sorry for everything. I wish I had the strength and the mindset I have now. I'm just, I'll never forgive myself.
The publicity from the trial quickly turned Woody into a social media celebrity. By August 2024, he capitalized on the buzz by reviving his music career with a brilliantly titled track called I Don't Recall, a direct nod to his infamous, repeated response during his testimony. He was soon scoring invitations to major paid interviews, hood vlogs, and even a few speed dating shows that racked up millions of views on YouTube, boosting both his ego and his bank account. He even teamed up with Charleston White, one of hip-hop's most notorious and self-proclaimed snitches, to secure a massive payday, which he frequently flexed on social media. Despite now carrying the reputation of a snitch, Woody kept moving through the streets of Atlanta without a care in the world, seemingly trusting that his old persona as a fearless shooter would still protect him.
How do you feel about people calling you, labeling you a snitch?
It's on the internet. I haven't ran to one person that said it to my face, and I ain't saying it like on no gangster stuff. Like I pray that nobody don't provoke me. You feel what I'm saying? Cause I ain't mess with nobody. I ain't looking for trouble. So if I'm out and somebody walk up and say I'm a snitch or whatever, I'm a bust one or the other.
In a twist that nobody really saw coming, the trial didn't just push Woody into the spotlight as a state's witness. It actually turned him into a celebrity. His emotional breakdowns, combative back-and-forth arguments, sarcastic comebacks, and sudden memory lapses, mixed with his obvious refusal to cooperate despite having immunity, made him incredibly entertaining to watch and actually won him a lot of sympathy from fans. However, those exact same antics made him one of the worst star witnesses the prosecution could have ever imagined, and his performance alone left their entire case up in flames. But as it turns out, there was someone else in that courtroom whose missteps would play an arguably even bigger role in helping Young Thug eventually walk free: Judge Glanville.